We have with us right now Cliff Henry from the Harpersfield Township Trustees, and we have Ed Demshar and Jim Pristoff. And we're going to do things just a little bit differently today. We have Mr. Henry sitting beside me. We have the other two trustees over there, and we want to talk about a bunch of different things. And one thing is the I-90 corridor, because of all the things that are going on there, and the JED, and it's kind of a dry subject, but hopefully we can make that interesting. But first of all, because it's someplace that I like, and I like going down to, is the Grand River and the Harpersfield Bridge. And I know a few weeks ago there was a big announcement about the third JED agreement, which is kind of a quasi-government thing where people share resources. We were talking about that a little bit ago. But I got there early, and instead of like hanging around or looking like a dork because I got there early, I went down to the Grand River and shot some video, and I don't know, just enjoyed the scenery down there. You got the covered bridge and picnic areas and a lot of people fishing and all, which you'll see in the video. And so, are we ready to go with everything, Andy? Okay, so we're going to talk about that now, and we switch over to the other guys. And okay, there we are. We are at with Mr. Demshar on the left, or no, yes.
Raise your hand.
Yes, there we are. Okay.
There you go.
It's different here and it's different there. And Jim Pristoff. That's right here. Okay. And tell us what makes the Grand River and the Harpersfield Bridge area so special. Everybody can talk.
The Grand River is, I think, the main tourist drawing in our area.
Right.
And about 4 or 5 years ago, a couple ladies from the area formed a park committee in which they've been able to have fundraisers to maintain the park, improve it. In fact, last Friday we just had a steel roof put on the big pavilion, which is money that's been raised through the fundraising efforts down there, our chicken dinner, our dinner on the river ticket sales, and so it's just a main draw. People from all over the state come to visit the river there. At one time that was the longest covered bridge in the United States until they built the one in Plymouth.
The smaller one, yeah.
Yeah, smaller one. So it's just a natural attraction for everybody, and families, a great place for families to gather down there.
And you're about 4 minutes off of I-90 from there.
It's very close.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we have a video on our website, www.sweet224.net, talking about the committee and their fundraising efforts and all the things they did. Tell us a little bit more about the dinner. There's a raffle.
Yes, we have a raffle. It's dinner on the river. And
literally.
Literally, right on there. This is our 4th year we've had it, and it's where we have a raffle. It's $5 a ticket, 5 for 20. And what they do is the winner. We have a raffle. We have the drawing, and the winner he wins a dinner for 10 themselves plus 9 other guests, and we have dinner on the river, and it's a steak. It's actually turf and surf. Beautiful background and everything else, and I do the cooking with my son and of course other guests, and then we serve it right there, right on the river, and it's been very successful. It's a good fundraiser, but it's fun too.
Yeah.
The scene is beautiful. You have the backdrop of the bridge, the waterfall. You know, your dam and things like that, which is I look at it as a waterfall, but it's just beautiful. It's very scenic and very lovely.
You know, it's not just the scenic, but the sound.
Oh, that's basically yes. Because if you go down there, you have the sound of the river all the time running. After a nice wind, a rainstorm or something like that, you'll have it really heavy coming down. But then you have the other where it's trickling, and it's lovely. It's like a beautiful sound.
When I was doing the video on the committee, there were all kinds of people down there fishing and
Yes.
and sitting there and they were having picnics and all. So it's a nice.
Got to see the show. What happens there too, if you sit down there, you have people go down for lunch and things like that, but you'll have the blue heron come through. I've seen the bald eagle come through. It's just a beautiful time. You have just if you're a bird lover, you'll see that. But if you like to walk, wet your feet, walk in the river and so forth, you'll have that. It's something that's very nice.
And it's like I say, it's all kind of a lot of interesting things there in Harpersfield together. And it's not just the Grand River, which is one of 3 scenic rivers in Ashtabula County. Ashtabula County would be the other 2. But it's also the wineries and the smell of the wineries, and there's a lot of them together. I know that from Geneva State Park that they have like buses that take people to the various wineries and give them a taste of the area, and a lot of those are in Harpersfield. So do you find a lot of people going to the different wineries and the
yeah, the wineries have been a big attraction for the area. They bring people from Cleveland, from Erie, from Youngstown.
the fact you have them close by?
They're close by. They're all very easy to access from Interstate 90. People come from all over. They have very good restaurants with them. It's just a great attraction for people to come to Harpersfield and Ashtabula County to visit the wineries and taste the products that are there.
We have 11 wineries in Harpersfield Township.
Wow.
And, you keep thinking you're going to get too many wineries, but I talked to some of the owners and they complement each other, and
Yeah.
when the winery opens, it just draws more people.
Well, that's what I say, is when they have like shuttles to go to all of them.
Yes.
And when you got 11, it makes it worth your while.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go on a shuttle tour and there's one.
And you might think a winery's a winery, but every winery's different. They have their own personality, their own style of entertainment, their own type of food. So every winery you go to is different. It's not the same. It's not a winery, you know?
Right.
So,
Well, Nick Ferrante reminds me, Nick Ferrante told me that just in Harpersfield, because of the rolling hills and stuff, you may have a different tasting wine, a different type of grape,
Correct.
one place than you're going to have a half a mile away.
yeah.
That's
correct.
True.
So,
Cliff's a grape farmer.
Yeah, he's a grape farmer.
Tell us about that.
Well, grape farming is changing to a lot of the winery type of grapes versus the old Concord grapes that were native to this area. And they are very unique. They brought a lot of them in from Europe and made different wines with them. It's a unique climate that we have here because of Lake Erie and Grand River that allows the different wines to grow, and they flourish in this area, which is tremendous.
So if you're not particularly enamored with a wine in one place, well, just go up the road.
Go up this road. They have everything from the dry reds, the dry whites, the sweet wines. There's something for everyone's palate in the wine field.
Well, our wineries too, several of them have won international awards and
Yeah.
blue ribbons and stuff, and it's just not, we're just not Harpersfield. Our wineries are worldwide as far as that goes for competition and stuff, so we're well known in a large area in this world.
Nick has done very well, Mr. Ferrante. He's
Yes.
the winemaker Ferrante's, and he's done very well. Of course, I think Lorello's had a
Lorello's just had one too.
yes, so they get into the competition, and it's
I've
a
got
fine.
all the Lorello's at home. I should have brought it in. We could have a little breakfast.
There you go. Yes. But they have a little. I think because some go the European style. There's a little bit of everything, and then you have the fruit wines. Just people coming from all over. I know Youngstown comes in quite a bit.
Sure.
They do come in to taste those wonderful wines, and a good atmosphere. It's trying to establish ourselves as the Grand River Valley.
That's exactly it, the Grand River Valley. We like to create a name like the Napa Valley of California. We want to be the Napa Valley of the East.
That's correct.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but I just recently saw, I can't remember names of movies anymore, a movie about, I believe it was in the 1960s, where the Napa Valley was trying to establish itself against
Excellent.
France.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That was where they won, and all it was is people starting off as a hobby,
Right.
starting it off, and all of a sudden came up with the fine wines, and they actually won the competition
Right.
with the French. The French actually came, tasted it and everything else, and they went, because it was a blind test.
Yes.
Yes.
And
They
they
went
were
into
surprised.
detail about
They-
the testing, yes.
And that's what Harpersfield's coming about, with the different.
Well, that was my point, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, we're very proud of it.
Uh-huh.
Harpersfield is very unique.
There was also earlier this spring, and I talked to the people at Lorello's about, and I've got to get back to the award-winning wine too, but at Lorello's about the problems with the rough winter. But things have kind of mitigated themselves a little bit. I don't know if it's as bad as what was originally thought.
Well, some of the wineries, what happens at your special wines,
Special wine.
what happens, they lost them, and they had to do is cut them off at the ground, and a lot of them are coming back up again. But crop will be, what do you think, a couple
They're
of years?
related 2 to 3 years at least.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get
as they
grapes from
reestablish
those.
the vine.
The Concords are solid.
Yeah, I was talking to Arnie Esther, and right when this happened, he's in his 80s.
Yes.
And he was talking about giving it up because he's not going to see it. So I just decided to do an interview. Well, that was one day. 2 days later, Arnie's like, "This isn't a disaster. It's a learning experience." So, but I did also want to mention, before I forget, we were talking about the award-winning wines, and at Ferrante's, Nick Ferrante's, he had a ice wine, and what was it? It was like. There was 65 entries, and his was 65 judges.
65 judges, I think it was 1,500 or 15,000
Yeah.
entries.
And 65 judges, and they unanimously. This wasn't like
That's fantastic.
that wasn't like 38, 37 or something. They unanimously picked his wine, and when Nick tells me that, I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, yeah, you said unanimously? He's doesn't like to brag or things.
Yes, he is. He's a humble man.
He's very humble.
But a fine winemaker.
Yes, 4:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock picking grapes. The one day that they were picking, I got called out there, and I didn't get there quite as early as they did, and they were picking the grapes. But I saw part of the process, and I did get to go to the vines where the frozen grapes were, and have some of them, and they were very sweet and they were very good.
Because of the sugar content.
Yes.
Because they're actually, they have to, what temperature do they have to be at?
I believe it's 19 degrees, but they have to be all frozen. They're processed in a frozen state.
Right.
So
And if it
everything
gets
is
even
frozen.
colder than that, it's not good,
Yeah.
and it can't warm up.
Exactly.
It's like the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter lines with Mars or something.
And he gets volunteers to come out
Yeah.
also to help pick in that. It's an event. It's an
Right.
adventure. Something once in a lifetime.
So it'd be nice if maybe they had a movie about Ashtabula County wine sometime.
That would
like
be wonderful. That would be good.
Because-
Well, I think it's coming.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll come.
It's coming. It's a growing business. We're very fortunate to have the Ohio wine producers housed right in our area. So the more it gets promoted, the better the wines, the better our getting the information out about our wine country.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about the impact of pairings too in Geneva. I mean, it brings more interest about the wines to the area.
That's
Oh,
the
yes.
that's the whole idea of pairings, is to bring the interest, to get information, is to promote all of Ohio wines. We're very fortunate it's located here, once again, but it also is to promote the locavora of the area. Everything grown and produced in Ohio is what's being promoted
Right.
at pairings.
Yeah, it's not just Ashtabula County wines.
Exactly.
You don't have to. In fact, what I remember right, it isn't like you can buy a lot of Ashtabula County wines there. They want you to go to the wineries
Once you go to the local winery.
and find it themselves. But if you want wines from somewhere else in
You want
Ohio,
Sandusky, Cincinnati, Columbus,
They'll
we
have
have
them for
those
you.
wines there.
the other thing is, well, that's all well and good, but I don't know how to pair food and wines, and I don't know, and
That's the use.
and they can tell you.
They can tell you. They also have a number of classes set up
Right.
where you can come in and experience cooking, to learn how to cook, to take the wines, even make wines, and pair the wines with the foods. So,
And there's a whole process of tasting
yes.
that I watched people do, but at the time I was doing some videoing, I thought, well, the next they'll have another session here of wine tastings, and I'll be involved in it. I'll try to. They didn't have one.
Very enjoyable, yes.
Wine tasting is unique.
It's a long process.
It's a long process. I don't have the palate for what is really the great wines, but I do know which wines that I like. But by going through the wine tasting, they tell you how to use your tongue, how to use your mouth to get the different flavors that are in the wines.
What do they start out with? They start out with, I don't think it's even wine, but I don't know. I can't remember. But
it's kind of like a lemon juice, just to
Yeah.
clean your palate.
Right.
So that you can then absorb all the different flavors in the wines.
Yeah, it's almost scientific.
Yes.
And pairings was kind of a vision of the people in Geneva who, from what I was told, I think from Jennifer Brown, is that they saw businesses in Geneva that worked that did fine during the summer tourist season, but they're having problems in the winter staying. And this was a way to keep a focus on that area, downtown Geneva and the area in the winter.
It is. It's to bring people, as you said, on a year-round basis, somewhere to go. We have a great tourist attraction in the summer because of the lake, the parks, and everything that we offer. But during the winter, it tends to slow down. And this will hopefully bring people coming. They can stay at the lodge or the hotels in the vicinity, make pairings a part of it. Then they can tour from pairings to the wineries. It just kind of make a unique place to stop and come.
And if you watch, we have a video on the opening. We all have a video on everything.
That's good.
But when we have one on the JET agreement, we have one on the news conference, but we have one on, we did one on pairings when they started working on it, and it was an old barn.
Old carriage house.
Old carriage house, and it wasn't in too good a shape, and when I was there, they were working on the bridge, or on the roof. And then I went back in June when they opened, and the video I have in June, I have showing it panning back in January, and then what it looks like today. And this is just, and it's a remarkable difference. They utilized what they could, the doors and different things of the old building, and it turned out very nice. But that's just the beginning, because if you go to pairings, there is this big open space, and the vision there is that they're going to be building more structures there, and it will be more of an educational thing. There'll be an auditorium, and
There'll hopefully be incubator wineries
Right.
where you can learn how to produce wine on a commercial basis, training everything into the wine, as well as the food.
right.
It's joint. A number of us took trips around to different wine and culinary centers before we even began this, and tried to use their ideas incorporated into what will become pairings. The vision for the future is a much larger establishment, as you said, that would make a lot of opportunities for people to be a part of it.
So I said when I mentioned that was, you'd be impressed with how it's changed, but you know, baby, wait, because who knows what's going to happen there. So it's a lot of development, but you know, the Grand River, and if you get off at Geneva, you see the signs for Ferrante's, and it's kind of just down from there is Harpersfield.
Right on 307.
Yeah. Take a trip down there, drive through there, and they also have, I know they have Christmas displays, they have a Christmas program down at the dam.
At the dam, yes, we have that. That's going to be, what, December 6th, I think, of this year. And that's unique and everything else. Santa Claus comes down and everything
the
else.
Fire trucks and all.
Yes, and that's a good time. It's something that's, you try to make it unique and something that a little different than other people have it, you know, where it's good. He actually comes down on John Deere.
Oh, okay.
He comes on John Deere and everything else. And, it's good, and then we have pictures of that in the pavilion and everything else. And we have, it's good, the fellowship and everything else, singing and everything.
Right, yeah.
It's a good time, and we light the trail also, which is good.
A lot of volunteers going into that and into
Yeah, what Ed alluded to how we got involved with that too. I got involved, and I think we all did, is because there was some vandalism down there in the park.
Right, that's how the committee was
That's
formed.
how it was formed, basically, because you get vandals. You know, few people wreck it for everybody, and that's ruin it for everyone, and that's something you really want to change. So that's why we really got involved, and we all are on the committee itself, and a lot of hard work. We have some fundraisers that have done it, and it's we feel that because it's because of the Metro Park, we feel it's the diamond of the jewel of the Metro Park in our area.
Sure.
It's because it's very quaint and it's lovely. It's nature at its best.
I think I mentioned to some of you that, I've been running into the ground because of these bike things, but we have a biking group, and our last biking tour last year was through the rolling hills and vineyards and smelling the grapes in Harpersfield.
Well, that's, yes.
And we ended with lunch at Ferrante's.
Oh.
And it's also kind of, and I didn't realize it the other day, I didn't really think about it, but when we launched our website at it's going to change, we're changing our name to Great Wave Communications, but when we started our website, it's kind of, we contracted out with this organization, and they have these like filler pictures there. They're kind of generic pictures that, and I said, wait a minute, we want local ones. And I was thinking of pictures I had taken that I wanted in there. And I came up with 3 photos that I thought said Ashtabula County. One was the Smolin Covered Bridge. Another one was a picture of some grapes that I just stopped along the road and took a picture of some grapes on a vine in Harpersfield. And the other one was the Harpersfield Covered Bridge. So out of the 3 pictures that if you go to our website, that they alternate the photos, out of the 3, 2 of them are from Harpersfield. It wasn't because I'm thinking I want to do Harpersfield, I want to do Harpersfield. But I was just thinking about, they had to be little square photos. They couldn't be something that had to be big for you to be interested in. And but they ended up being from Harpersfield. So.
Did not the aroma?
Yeah.
The aroma of the grape. Just it's something that you don't know, and it's romantic. It's just is it the Concord?
It's
the Concord that's just
produces
beautiful.
most of the
And you smell it as you drive, and it's just open the windows and take it in. It's
Right.
wonderful.
Well, if you're on a bicycle.
Oh, you really take it in.
Right, and like I said, we had the nurse from ACMC saying people need to get out and exercise. We have lousy health in Ashtabula County.
Yes.
And we have the bike trails in there, and people need to take advantage of that more. The guy called us out this morning and said, I was looking out the window and they weren't using them in Cleveland, and so I think they're a waste. Well, there are times when they are being used, and if they're there, maybe people will get the idea. But Harpersfield is a nice area, just scenically and like the smell, and then you can stop someplace and have some wine.
Yes.
We're going to shift gears a little bit. We have with us Cliff Henry, Ed Demshar, and Jim Pristoff.
Jim Pristoff. No problem.
I'm trying to figure out between here and where I've written down. Okay. This is Ed Demshar. Ed rhymes with JED, and he is the expert on JEDs. And JED stands for Joint Economic Development District.
Correct.
And there are 3 of them in Ashtabula County, and the communities that have JEDs are as follows. Harpersfield and Geneva have 1 JED. The other one is Harpersfield and Geneva. And the 3rd one is Harpersfield and Geneva.
Correct. You got them all right.
I knew I'd win that in that quiz. So, explain first of all, what is a JED?
Well, a JED is a Joint Economic Development District, and the purpose of the JED is to create economic development, to create jobs, and to have a working relationship with our neighbors where we share taxes and infrastructure. And Harpersfield was the 2nd township in the state to have a JED. Akron was the first.
This is after the state legislature created it.
Right.
And then Harpersfield is the only township to have 2 JEDs. And now a couple weeks ago, we signed a contract for our 3rd JED. Our 3rd JED is from, basically from Northwest Ames, just north of Clay Street to Interstate 90 on the west side of the road. That'll provide sewers so that we can build some motels, restaurants, and other opportunities that we're looking at to develop in that area. By creating these JEDs, we've raised a substantial amount of revenue, so we don't have to go to our residents looking for additional tax levies. So it's provided a nice income to the township where we can get our fire equipment, our road equipment, and whatever we need. So it's been a major plus for both the township and the city.
Explain how you get revenue from the JEDs.
Okay, there's two sources of revenue. There's a JED tax. It's similar to a city income tax. In fact, ours follow the same guidelines as a city income tax. The city collects, administers, and distributes the income tax. Then there's a bed tax, and then the township and the city share that. So those are the two sources of revenue. Of course, obviously, as the development comes, there's property taxes that that all goes to the township. So it's a good revenue source for us, but the main thing is it's creating jobs and it's creating economic development, and that's what we're trying to do to keep the area going.
When you're talking about infrastructure, you're talking about things like Harpersfield doesn't have a sewer plant.
Correct.
So you are depending on Geneva for that.
That's correct.
Well, Ohio Revised Code says townships cannot own, operate, or maintain a utility. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we cannot own a utility. So the only place we can get sewers is from the city, and we get water from both the city and the county, depending where the township is going. But we cannot own, operate, or maintain a utility.
So you had the JED is together with Geneva, and you know, so Geneva is getting
They're sharing in the taxes
right.
from the JED.
Plus, it's attracting people off of I-90.
Correct.
They're going to Spire, and they're stopping at Pizza Hut or Wendy's or Get Go and all the things there, and then they're heading into Geneva and Geneva Township and Geneva on the Lake.
Now, Spire is in our JED 2 district.
Right.
And with the sewers there, or excuse me, JED 1 district. JED 1 district is from Clay Street to 534 east. JED 2 district is south of Interstate 90 from Lefebvre Road to a little bit past 534 from 307 to 90. JED 3 is on the west side of 534 from Northwest Ammons south to Interstate 90. So it's three separate JEDs, three separate agreements. Each one has their own personality.
And in all of these, there could be pitfalls that haven't happened. It could be, I want that Pizza Hut in Geneva. No, they want to be here in Harpersfield, and
Well, I think
and that has not happened with with city manager Jim Pearson, the administration that has not.
Well, Harpersfield Township, I'm sure the city would like everything in the city. We want everything in a township.
Right.
But it's a location.
Right.
And so what the judges have done is they've eliminated annexation. I don't know if you were around, but we used to have some horrendous annexation battles, and it was, you know, we just couldn't even stand to say Geneva. They couldn't stand to say Harpersfield. But through the judges, we were able to have a coalition and being able to work together. And we all know that if that motel goes in Harpersfield, Geneva's going to get revenue, we're going to get revenue. And so it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Correct.
That's correct.
So this all ended because of the creation of the JED. Did somebody somewhere say, well, instead of us fighting about annexation, let's create a JED? Or
That's about how it all started.
About the way it started.
I think I learned about it at the convention in Columbus where Akron, and I forget the name of the township down there that had one. So I kind of brought it back and we spun it around, and it worked, you know. So it's just been a huge success for everybody involved. By everybody, I mean the whole county has benefited from that. The Spire has been a definite plus with that because the job creation is, and when they have their events, and I know this for a fact, they'll fill hotels from the west side of Cleveland to Erie. Every hotel along 90 is filled. They've been a big plus for the lodge because when they have their events, the lodge is filled. And so that's helped them financially. So everything has helped everybody. You know, it's a very good working relationship.
the Days Inn in Conant. gets
Oh, they get
people
filled up
inspired.
there.
Yeah.
Correct.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
This is just the
And
beginning.
it's not just the motels, the bed and breakfasts essentially are all filled up too, so they find these places and it's created a lot of jobs, and so we're extremely happy the way this worked out so far.
Yes.
What's nice, I think about the Jeds is they take care of the commercial end, but we still have our identity as a rural area of Harpersfield.
Yeah, you get off of
We get both.
Yeah, you get off the main drag there, and you're in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
exactly what.
We've said from the beginning that when we create these JEDs, we want to keep our identity. We want to keep the agricultural, we want to keep the rural identity. So our zoning is protected that, so that our development is, our industrial development is on Bishop Road, which Cliff worked very hard to get grants. We're going to service that road hopefully next year, which will encourage commercial development there. And then north of 90, we have the economic development and a lot of job creation. So a lot of jobs.
Yes.
A lot of jobs
Yeah, that's what we're
created
looking
there,
for.
And you also got a grant for some sewer work. There was the press conference last month you had lots of people out.
Well, they had the cost of the sewer project, I believe, it's estimated to be approximately 1.7 million.
Right.
And Cliff knows, Cliff works on the grants, but we got a $100,000 grant, and our congressman came up and presented it to us, and then we had the state senator, state rep, John Patterson has worked extremely hard with us to
Yes, yeah.
get the area going there. We can't thank him enough. So, but then the county commissioner, everybody was there. We had a lot of visitors.
Yes.
So you were there. It was just a super turnout. You know, so.
And we're fortunate, I don't mean to interrupt, but fortunate that we're designated as part of the Appalachian Regional Council. That's where this grant came to, because we're a designated Appalachian.
It's interesting, I was getting emails from somebody saying, why don't you do an investigation of this Appalachian thing? Because what are we getting out of this? And about 3 days later, we had this announcement.
Well, we got the $100,000 for the JED sewers.
Sewers.
We got
About 400,000 for the road
for the
that's going to
Bishop
go in
Road.
Bishop Road extension.
So the money's there. You have to go after it.
Right.
So.
And there's a couple other grants that are going towards
this.
for
Ohio
the sewer
Public-
also.
Ohio Public Works Commission has got a substantial grant there, and so the financing's all in place, so we don't have to worry about that. And like I say, the whole emphasis is jobs and economic development. So.
When the businesses are built and they use the sewers, that generates income for the sewer department.
for
It's
the
going to
sewer.
help pay for.
For their upgrade and
Upgrade
infrastructure
Right.
development, yes.
and can
Absolutely.
maintain that, yes.
Well, what the city did, they have a ordinance which says that anybody outside the city residence pays 150% of the user fees and tap-in fees. So what they did to encourage the business owners to sign a JED agreement is they rolled back that 50%. So now that JED 3 businesses will pay the same sewer rates
As
as
Geneva.
the city.
As
As Geneva residents.
So
Right.
that's saved the business people
Yeah.
a ton of money. The restaurants are really happy with that. So.
I bet. Well, there was a developer there working with somebody that's talking about a hotel
Okay.
behind McDonald's.
Correct.
Marty.
Okay.
Marty.
Those are the Smith brothers.
His name is Marty.
Okay, that's I got his name somewhere. But and then there's beside the McDonald's, between that was the tire store.
The truck stop.
Truck stop,
Truck
yeah.
wash.
There's going to be another restaurant, and across the street they're talking about maybe a Starbucks or a Panera bread or something like that.
Right up front.
Right
Yeah.
up front, right
The
between.
hotel will be located behind McDonald's.
Right.
They own quite a hunk of land. They're coming out that driveway, then there'll be a restaurant and a Pinellas or something. There's no names yet.
Yeah, that's what he mentioned was.
Yeah.
He's throwing out some
something
names,
like
yes.
that.
They
Some
mentioned
choices.
some of the people that they have been negotiating with for some time.
He mentioned the one beside McDonald's would be more of a sit-down place
Correct.
possibly.
Right, Applebee's.
Like an
or
Applebee's or
Fridays.
something of that nature, yes.
But the Smith brothers, there's two of them. One of them, I don't know the exact
They make
job
coffee drops.
description, but they make cough drops. But anyhow, one owns McDonald's and runs McDonald's. The other one handles the property, and that's the one that's trying to get the business developed there, so.
There's also a corridor committee, right? That's trying to get.
Yes.
Route 534
534.
corridor committee.
Right.
And just to go back to the trustees here a little bit, we work together very well in our organizational meetings. We each have different responsibilities. Mine's the JEDs and infrastructure. Cliff is the pairings, and he's got a couple other ones he works
Zoning,
on.
yeah, he has a
So,
zoning, cemetery, and
zoning
everything
and
else.
cemetery. So we all have several different areas to go. So whoever wants to talk on the 530.
What does Jim have here?
Jim,
Well,
he's in. He's an ad representative. He's a county water representative. Go on, Jim. Jim's got a list that long.
911, and we have, and I'm very proud. I sit with the fire department also, one of the best in the county. They're the finest. They do a great job. It's a volunteer fire department, and led very well by actually his brother Everett Henry, who's has done a fantastic job. With the CIC, where we formed a CIC and so forth, that's gone with the papers have been filed with the state of Ohio, and that will be in developing, hopefully to develop a little bit more of the corridor
So
itself.
what's CIC?
It's
Community Involvement Corporation.
Okay.
okay.
Investment corp.
And that will be where you have trustees, and there's be up to 15 trustees. Well, they will be paying a fee to get into, of course, and then you'll have membership also. Those will then look at developing, maybe procuring properties or whatever to develop the corridor itself, which is the 534, which will run from actually the river, by the Grand River all the way to Geneva on the lake, and it would wrap around a little bit on 531 and that. And it's to develop that area to create interest and make it better for everyone.
The CIC is a non-government entity, but one of their main purposes is that, as it's formed, is to research and get grant money for the improvement of that area. So you have the CIC and you have the 534 corridor study, and they're both totally different operations.
Right, and what happens with the CIC too is you have entities from different, from Harpersfield, Geneva on the lake, your Chamber of Commerce, Geneva Chamber of Commerce, your Geneva on the Lake Chamber of Commerce also, and the Geneva on the Lake. So there's a number of entities. With that, it shows the interest that's there, and that will in fact show that the state or whatever, or the government, that we have a number of municipalities or people that are involved and are interested in not one, but a number, and it's going to incorporate a lot of people.
Which kind of gives you more strength, doesn't
Yes,
it? More,
that is absolutely correct.
Power.
Well, it shows the interest, that we all are interested, we're working together to make something happen.
And it's working the whole corridor, not just one pocket of it. It's putting the whole thing together to work from, as he said, from the river to the lake.
Okay. I wanted to touch a little bit maybe on, obviously, the way you three talk. You've been at this job for a while, and you're all retired from other jobs, because usually this kind of thing is a part-time job. I mean, right? Really, it's as far as the norm in a community like Harpersfield, it's kind of a part-time job, and you meet on certain nights. But the fact that you three are retired and have been doing this together for a while is kind of an added advantage for the community.
That's true.
Was that question too long?
No, they did a good job.
Good backgrounds, we all have different backgrounds.
We all come from different backgrounds, yes.
But you're all retired and you can take the time
Correct.
to do the job.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So, and we were talking about these JEDs. The first one was what, from the 1990s?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know the exact date, but
What, for
Around,
ours?
around the latter 90s, 96, 97, somewhere in there. Yes.
So you're kind of old hat at this stuff.
Yes.
So
well,
that
one thing
means
about
that-
I didn't mention about the JEDs, but one unique thing about that is we have each contract that there's no annexation for 99 years. So that gives us a lot of broad area to work with the city and stuff. Say, hey, look, we got an agreement for 99 years. So that's been a big plus for the town too.
By then, one or two of you may not even be on the trustees anymore.
Possibly.
That's right. But
Probably not.
what we work together, one thing, and that is that what we've done for the people, not what we've done to the people. Okay, that's
Leaving a
their
legacy.
Yes, well,
Correct.
we feel we're fathers of the community that way.
You know, And I was born and raised in Harpersfield. My dad was a trustee many, many years ago.
Okay.
And we each had our jobs, we did our thing. I'm retired from the banking business. Ed's retired from the insurance business.
Sears and customer service.
Customer
Sears
service. So
Roebuck
we've all had
make the
different
lead.
backgrounds that we bring together. But the whole goal is to promote Harpersfield. So,
You're buried. Where are you from? Harpersfield? Or?
I lived in Geneva till I was 20 years old, got married, and we moved out to Harpersfield when we were 22. So I've been out there for 49 years, and
That would
loved
make-
every minute of it.
Yeah. And Jim, you're from Cleveland.
Yes, I was born in Cleveland, in the Slovenian area, and then from Cleveland, I was raised in Euclid. I got married and raised my family in Eastlake, and then I moved out here when I retired from Sears Roebuck. I was customer service and delivery manager for Sears Roebuck in Big Ticket, and I came out here, and Harpersfield is just filled with wonderful people, and I'll tell you, the country folk are just wonderful. I can only say it's a different group of people. They're very generous, they're very committee oriented, and I think you have to be accepted, first of all.
Correct.
You have to be accepted. I'm a city man, and you have to be accepted, and hopefully I've earned that respect from them because they've elected me, but they're just wonderful people. Harpersfield is where I'm going to be. It's,
Well, how long have you all three been on the trustees together?
I currently was just elected to last year. It's my 8th term.
So is that 2 years or
It's 4
4
years.
years.
32 years.
So when this term's up, I'll be a trustee for 32 years.
Okay.
I've been 8 years.
and I've had 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
So you've been working together for 8 years.
Yes.
Yes.
And I just want to say, like, people say, how come you run for trustee? How come you run for trustee?
The glory.
I don't have any personal agenda. I keep saying all I want to do is someday I want to show my grandkids and my great grandkids, Grandpa was part of this, or Grandpa was part of getting this fire, and Grandpa was part of getting the roads done, Because I am part of it because all three of us work together. None of us take any, we're not looking for any personal
Correct.
attitude or anything like that. We all work together, and like I said, I can tell my grandkids. In fact, I had a picnic with my family down at the river Saturday, and my grandson's girlfriend was there, and so they were going to go up to the spire and see that. She hadn't seen the spire, so they went up there afterwards. And I said, did you remember Grandpa was part of that?
That is an impressive place.
I can only say is my father, what he always taught me is to be humble and let other people shine. And I think this is what we basically do.
You know,
Okay.
like I said, being from Harpersfield, I grew up on a dairy farm, grape farm. I'm still in the grape business. But Harpersfield is unique, and it has the rural and it has the economic area at Interstate 90. It's just a community that works together and keeps everything moving.
I just want to throw one thing in. There's one very important person that's not here today, and that's Sharon Rohrbar, our Chief Financial Officer. She just does an awesome job.
She does.
And she keeps us
On our
keeps
toes.
us on our toes. And
Don't spend that
tells us
dollar.
what we can do and what we can't do. But she's just a tremendous asset to the township.
Absolutely.
And, she's in California. She probably would have been here this morning.
Yes.
Well, if she's streaming, she could hear the show.
Yeah.
Although it is 10 minutes to 6 there, so I don't know.
Well, the DVR of the show.
Yeah. We were talking about going full circle on this before we wrap things up, and we started out talking. We've got a phone call. Let's see what we've got here. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you,
Did anybody get that?
I think he's on cell phone.
He must
I think
be
you're
on
on a cell
and you're
phone.
losing some of the signal.
Yeah, we're having
I'm
problems.
sorry
here.
about that, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe if you try back here the next couple of seconds, we can get you on. Yeah, cell phone coverage isn't always real good.
Right, you lose it.
So we'll watch for the phone, and if we call, we'll get you on the line. But meanwhile, we want to come full circle because we were talking at the beginning about the Grand River, and at one time it was in kind of dire straits. There was vandalism.
It was vandalized, it was run down, it was in really disarray.
Excuse me.
I'll just say about 5 years ago, these couple ladies, Jackie Spore and Denise Weiner, and got their heads together. They wanted to do something in the park. So the first thing to do was to get volunteers to clean up the park. And it was amazing. The first year we had 135 volunteers down there with shovels, rakes,
Wow,
tractors, and everything. And since then, we've run probably anywhere between 35 and 50 people. We have a spring cleanup every year. But that's one thing unique about this township. When there is a project, the entire community comes up, whether it's the park committee, whether it's a Harpersfield volunteer, beef roast. We have an extremely supportive community, and that makes our job a lot easier. So,
Yes.
As I said, we have a video about everything. I do have a video with Denise talking about, you know, how that all started and the cleanup and all.
Yes.
So it's
We just had a
It's just
new one of the pavilions, Ellsworth, was just re-roofed also.
Okay.
I think it was the building technicians. I think they
the
did
building
that job.
technicians from Geneva, they've been very supportive of our group, and I think it's the second roof they put on. We have another roof to put on a pavilion,
And then
then
Jeff
we have
James.
a building. And one outstanding person, Jeff Jenks, he mows that he's down there 3-4 days a week.
wow.
Every couple days, he owns Jenks Trucking.
Okay.
They're a trucking corporation.
Trucking court.
But he has some of his guys come down to help do the weed whacking, the trimming and stuff. And
Let's
he
see if we
doesn't
can get this
charge us a
call.
penny.
Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm going to try this again.
Okay.
There we go.
I would like to congratulate these gentlemen, these three gentlemen and their cohorts on what they've done for Geneva and the Harpersfield area. I would like to extend the invitation to them to move to Conneaut anytime they want and try to help us get out of the doldrums we're in. What they're doing is should be appreciated by all the people in Geneva and that Harpersfield area, because you guys have done a wonderful job, and keep up the good work. And I welcome you to Conneaut anytime you want to come.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's the
Thank you.
invitation. All right, thank you. Yeah, there are some problems along the I-90 corridor in Conneaut. If you came in, there's a lot of potential there, but there are some problems.
It's
Yes.
name of the game is working together.
Work together.
You have to put your pride aside. What you have to do is look at what the common good is and take care of those. I think this is what we've always talked about.
Yes.
We might have disagreement, but what we have to make sure is when we make our decision, Harpersfield's always on top.
Yeah.
Okay, don't lose that vision. Okay, that's the name of the game is Harpersfield take care of their interests, and everybody it wins. It's a winning
It's a
situation.
win-win all the way
I've
around.
talked to other trustees and I've talked to other city councilmen throughout the county, and it just amazes me that no one else has pursued the JEDs. You know, if they were to look at them and see how much they help everybody, but everybody's afraid they're going to get maybe not half the pie or whatever,
Right.
you know.
Well, in Conneaut, you don't even need a JED, because from I-90 to the
It's all-
the lake, it's all Conneaut.
It's all Conneaut.
And it's the second largest city in the area in the state, next to Columbus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is a lot of
Is
potential
the
here.
90 and 7, is that in Conneaut?
Yes,
yes,
it's
it is.
Conneaut.
It's kind of a misnomer when you get on it. It says Conneaut, and it's got a sign point, but you are in Conneaut. I live south of 90. When I get off 90, I take a right, and I'm in Conneaut.
Well, like when Ashtable's school system moved to Saybrook,
Right.
there was talk about a JED and it never came up.
They just ended up annexing.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they didn't annex Saybrook, you know, that's, I don't think they annexed the
That-
school there, maybe they did, I
The
don't
schools
know.
they
Property.
did.
The school they did, probably. Okay,
Yeah.
that property.
The way that.
So it's kind of a gerrymandered thing.
Yes. But this way, everything works together and everyone benefits. That's the whole purpose of the JED. And it
And
doesn't
you
create
put
those
your pride, you
boundaries.
put your ego away.
Put the ego aside.
That is right. You have to put that aside. Humility is that wins out.
Well, and these negotiations, they didn't last for 1 or 2 days. This last
things
one went on for what, 6, 7, 8 months?
Honestly, yeah. Actually,
And,
almost a
and,
year.
and the first one was over a year, so it's not something that say, okay, we're gonna agree to this. I mean, you get in the room and you hammer each other a little bit, you know, but when you walk out of the room, you shake hands. I've got a meeting next Wednesday, so don't forget it, and we go back to it again, you know?
Right.
But it's not something that happens immediately. It takes, you gotta get respect for each other, you gotta get confidence in each other, you gotta feel that each other's not trying to take advantage of the other one, you know, so it's a two-way street.
And a lot of credit also, they aren't here today, but the Jim Pearson and Jennifer Brown in Geneva.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yes.
because
They've been
they're
very
kind of on the same wavelength.
They're on the
as you
same
guys.
wavelength. They've been great working as a partnership
Right.
with all of us.
And we'll-
Okay, we have, thank you for coming in, Cliff Henry, Jim Pristoff, and Ed Damshard.
Thank you.
The,
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Harpersfield
this
Township
opportunity.
Trustees. Hope we enlightened some people here today and let people know a little bit about our neighbors to the west here in the county.
That's right. Go Harpersfield.
Okay, thank you.